So good morning, everyone. Happy Monday morning. Winter is back. I thought, when was spring? March 21st? But I think it got confused and brought winter back. So we're all good anyway. We're going to be warm in our hearts, right? And we have our very own Chris with us again. And we were just sharing how Chris tells the most amazing stories. So if you don't have anything to do, we can stay on till like 9:30, 10
That's right.
o'clock
Let's do that.
and just hear the whole story. But Inspirations normally ends at 9. So we'll see how it goes. But I would like to introduce Chris, and the title of Chris's message this morning is Let's Tell Our Hospice Stories 55 Words at a Time. And her quote is, "A story is a powerful, unifying tool that connects mankind, breaks down barriers, and heals wounds." And that's from Native Hope. Through the art of storytelling, so many precious truths are passed from one generation to another, from one group of people to another. Chris was introduced to the concept of the 55-word storytelling during her master's in palliative care program, as it was a wonderful experience. She learned to share many stories in 55 words that helped her share her thoughts and passions with others. Let the storytelling begin. So without further ado, Chris, come on and tell us your story in 55 words or less.
That's right. There you go. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
So it says 55 word stories.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
We
great.
see it. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so I wanted to say hello to everybody. And this is a very interesting way of telling stories, because it's not like a poem, it's not like a haiku, and yet it is. It can be as artistic as you want. And so basically, as the quote says, it's a powerful unifying tool. And a lot of people feel very insecure about writing down their stories. They're like, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, I don't have those skills. And yet this is an incredibly easy way to tell stories. It's just, there's something about those 55 words. So they started doing this with doctors and nurses and psychotherapists, and to talk about some of these horrific things that we see in medical and when we're doing our work. And so they help us gain insight and key moments into the healing arts. And then the brevity or the shortness of these pieces makes it so that even really, really busy people can do them very quickly. So they call them small jewels. And there's quite a few research articles about how useful these have been. And so one of them, and I have all these resources if people want them, and I can send them out to whoever wants them. But Fogarty, Dr. Fogarty was one of the people who's used these with trainees. And here's the basic structure. You think of a compelling story based on your experience as a clinician, a patient, or whatever, and you write down everything you can think of, just sort of keywords. Then you don't edit it, you just write. You put it away, and then what happens is you read over your writing and you begin editing. And what happens is, and I want to show you guys something here. If you look at a Word document, and you look at the very bottom on the lower left, you'll see how many words it is. So this is much easier with technology now, because it'll tell you how many words you've done. So if I take off a word here, you'll see it goes to 54. So it's kind of a neat thing. You can do it pretty easily. So I wanted to show you an example of one that I did when I was in my master's program. And it says this: hospice nurse, it must be dreadful. No, really, it's a sacred time and honor. A time to explore quality of life and support patient and family as they face the struggle of their lives. It is a privilege to be a witness to this deeply intimate time. Hospice nurse, it's a passion and my calling. So that's exactly 55 words. And so then I put it as a visual. I'm very into pictures. People know me that. And so I did that. And it was very interesting to be able to do this. So some of this, there's a program, a lady who does this every week. You can sign up and find 55 word stories. So here's one here. The name of it is Life Expectancy. The lump. It turned me from physician to patient, though at the end of the day, there's no real separating. 19 months, port access, cold tables, bloody sores, disappearing eyelashes, sepsis, a new life expectancy, and also a new life expectancy. Appreciation, unbridled kindness, deeper love, and a different view of sunsets. Patient, physician, back again. It's incredible what it can do to you, because it makes you sort of have to distill a bunch of stuff. It doesn't have to be rhyming. It doesn't have to be pretty. And this is another one here, dialysis. So now those people who have worked with people at the end of life who are on dialysis, it's dreadful because you make a decision at one point to stop it. And when you stop it, it's like it starts a 2-week window ticking. But listen to this one. You can't do this. Please start dialysis, Janet. I'm ready to die now. It's not fair to June. She took care of you these last 8 years. Just wait till she comes home from her surgery. Just take dialysis until then. Do it for June, Janet. It's June. No dialysis. It's time. Let mom go. So it's really interesting how it just forces you to look at things and to make them really, really simple. Here's another one. Elderly, frail, thinning gray hair and cornrows, quietly dignified, no diagnosable malady, just old age. Her time had come and we both knew it. They told me to order another test. She just wanted to go home, but she endured our unwillingness to give up, only to die on the transport stretcher. And I wept alone. This is a classic situation where you've got a patient and you've got a family, and the family want the patient to live forever. The patient's done. They're done fighting. And it just gives me the chills when I read these things. Here's another one. This is actually Dr. Neely. And she writes, writing always intimidates me. There's something about sitting in a group with blank paper in front of me. So then this is her story about when she did not do the right thing by a patient. Oh no, again, a big lump, non-compliant, depressed, in the hospital. Oh no, again, who are you? Lonely, poor, trapped in your body, in your pain. Every month I listen, you smile. 3 years you come, never to the hospital. I am away when you do. Oh no, again, and bleed and die without me. And it talks about this doctor who she says for 15 years that had 15 years before, and that had haunted her, how she had not gone the whole way with this patient. So then I wanted to bring up a point. This is about stories. I don't know if people are aware that there was a landmark case in nursing that occurred this last week. In 2017, there was a nurse in Tennessee, and she made a terrible med error, and she caused the death of a patient, and she admitted it. She had her license taken away. There were many things she did wrong, but she self-reported. She came forward. They decided to criminally prosecute her, and they've accused her and they've convicted her of murder. What this is going to do to the nursing profession is mind-blowing. It is absolutely horrifying. So here's what I wrote this weekend. Nursing is not the same as it used to be. Trust me. Pandemics and nursing shortages, now lawsuits to punish those who self-report errors. Why do nurses eat their young? Now they are eating each other. This has to stop. The world is aging. We are all aging. We must support one another to survive. So that's what I wrote when I thought about what happened to this Redonda Vaught, who lives in Tennessee. And I'm sure she's going to appeal. This is going to be a landmark case. It might go all the way to the Supreme Court. Who knows where it's going to go. I'm not saying she didn't do something wrong. I'm not saying she shouldn't be punished. She lost her nursing license. But what I am saying is that if you punish the largest group of healthcare providers in the world are nurses, and then you make us so scared that we don't want to go to work when we get to the age of 50, 55, we're going to retire. We're not going to stay. Who's going to stay? So this is it was an interesting experience for me to see that. So I wanted to let you know that this lady here, Johnny Ann, she does 55 word stories every week. And then here's a quote I really like: the more I live, the more I learn. The more I learn, the more I realize, the less I know. And I think we all know that personally, the older we get. But I wanted to bring it open and just to share and to ask people to share some of their stories, and to maybe suggest that if someone wanted to, we could gather in the at lunchtime in one of the conference rooms, and we could do one of these exercises, because I'm telling you, they are really, really interesting for especially for people who are very nervous about how to do it. So here's the one that we just did. I was just sharing with you. So if we do one page, this is the one that I just did this yesterday, and it's 55 words. And all I did was write, and then I got to the 55 words and I cleaned it up a little bit. But all it was to get one emotion out, to get that thing out, and to let people know about it. It can be a happy thing. And I think that people can probably see that sometimes these things lend themselves toward tragic things or sad things. And going back into here, if we go down to 55 word stories, it was here. I think it goes to, the internet's been pretty unstable this morning, so we'll see what happens if it works. So this is what her Joni Ann, what her thing looks like. So you can see in here are her 55 word stories, and there's here's obviously talking different sections. So the world, cancer, etc. So if you go into cancer, etc., here are the little things. When your life is in the balance, it's strange which pills are often the hardest to swallow. Not the daily reminders of mortality, not the toxic medication dumped into your veins, not the surgeries that empty cavities and rearrange vessels. It's the hangnail, the split lip, the itching of the nerveless skin. The little things matter. So I find these things are really interesting because we're recovering from a pandemic, not particularly well, not particularly quickly. We've learned some lessons, and I think we didn't learn some lessons. I'm not sure that we've learned necessarily to be kinder to each other, which I wish could have come out of this. I think I've learned some things that have been really powerful along the way, but I just wanted to open it up and see if people want to share a little bit. And you can sign up to get these 55 word stories. And you can send, can come into your email. So I just wanted to share with you and see if you guys thought that was interesting or helpful. Open it up. Lots of quiet people. Jane.
I like that it is short. I'm an air sign, I was told. So I don't have a problem speaking words, but writing is another thing. And I like the fact that this doesn't have to be in a certain format, and it doesn't have to be forever and ever, that you can just shrink it down. It's very powerful. Very, very interesting.
I like it too, Chris. I was just thinking, it's nice because, if you're going through a particular emotion, you can put it all down in that moment. And sometimes that can in itself, like you said, be reflective. It can also be, I think, therapeutic. So yeah, I like that.
It's sort of like you put it in its place and you can let it go.
Yeah.
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 How about some of you other shy people out there?
Yeah, I agree. It's like poetry, and I like the fact, like you said, it doesn't have to rhyme. It's short and kind of straight to the point. So I'm sure there are a lot of interesting stories out there, and I would love to get together and do the exercise. Maybe it could be like a luncheon, right?
Yeah.
I want food with everything, so maybe I'll do a short story about food is good with everything.
That's right. Food with good, chocolate is better. There we go. We've almost written the whole thing right there. Chocolate is better. Chocolate.
Sorry, Chris. I like 55 because it's not scary. Sometimes it's like, write your story like, oh my gosh, it's going to take so much time. Just the short, it just removes some of the scariness, like 55 words, as Gina said, it doesn't have to rhyme. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It just has to convey from your heart, whatever it may be, good, bad, everything. So I love that. And I'm just so grateful for that gift.
Yeah. And I think it's really interesting. It was done from the perspective of doctors and therapists who were struggling so much. And they were like, not one more thing. I can't do one more academic thing. And they brought them in. They said, you're going to do it. And then they found out all these damaged, injured human beings who, just because they had MD or DO after their name, didn't mean that they weren't full of pain and didn't have these shared experiences. And that's why I thought it was really great. They were doing with doctors before they got their MD and after. It was very, very valuable to read all these research articles on it.
You know, it strikes me as in two parts, right? There's the healing component that comes with being able to share part of your story, part of your truth. Sometimes we keep our emotions and our thoughts bottled in. So it's a venue and a format to get it out. And then number two, the fact that it's 55 words, it helps practice brevity. You know, the idea of brevity, and that doesn't come naturally to some people, myself included. So, but by being able to, or being asked to put your thoughts down into something that is 55 words or less, you know, it's a wonderful practice for that.
And I was just wondering if even in the diversity committee, or even in some of these situations where we're talking about specific topics, how interesting it would be to have 2 or 3 people get together, or even individually, to create some of these things, just to capture some of these moments. Because, you know, if we don't remember them, they're going to go away. You know, I think it's really important to claim some of these and to record some of these things. Like when I saw that thing about the lawsuit with the nurse, I mean, it's like I felt like my profession was putting a noose around its own neck. And I can't even come. I mean, Sean Brass and I were talking about it. There are no words to describe the damage that was done to the nursing profession on Friday when you accuse a nurse of murder for innocently trying to do her job. She made an error. She's going to pay the price. But accusing someone of murder, that's not right. So anyway, anybody else have any thoughts? I know that's a real light topic to start a Monday on.
I like the process that you can just jot the words down, not have a formed sentence or idea behind it, but just to get it out and work with it, build on it, and explore what that really is meaning to you. Was already stated, but it really get the impact, the emotion, and how you are processing through all that just happened, or just want to just explore it more. I like the brevity of it. It's excellent.
Thank you.
I was just struck at how powerful it was. One of my complaints that I often say is that we live in a time when there's never been more communication and less said. Seems to me we are just talking all the time. People are texting and talking and writing, and nothing meaningful is being said. And it just struck me how powerful it was in so few words to say, what is it that you really want to say? And what is it that you really mean?
And I think maybe, well, right before we finish, I'll just share the screen one more time, just because I can. I feel powerful. No, just joking. So over here on the lower right, here's one that's just whimsical, peanut M&Ms. And here it is. I successfully extracted the peanut M&M from his 4-year-old nose. It was green. Thank you, Mom. Mom said. The patient giggled. I stood to leave. Dad stared at his hands. I didn't believe it would fit, so I tried too. The second extraction of the night, a green peanut M&M, like son, like father. I just thought that was hysterical. And it just captures a little bit of a moment. Here's another one, dog mom. We met on the last day of chemotherapy, both mamas, both with recent surgeries. We could never be new mamas again. Her head lay upon her paws. Her eyes looked straight into mine. 6 years later, still she sees me, my dog, my companion, my friend. I like to think that we rescued each other. And I think all of us can say that we know what it's like when a dog rescues us. And, you know, when friendships rescue us, and when all these things, just these simple emotions are so important. You know, Saturday was my birthday, and it was I'm 60, and I say I'm 120 because I'm a twin. So what I tried to do is I brought my twin sister down to the cherry blossoms at dawn, and we walked in those cherry blossoms at dawn, and it was the most incredible, exquisite, simple moment of just beauty with the breezes and those blossoms. And I've done it for 30 years, and it's like my year isn't complete unless I go down to the cherries and see those wonderful things, and it's just those simple things, and to capture them. So I hope that's been encouraging to everybody. And if anybody else has anything to share. Looking at all your little things up.
Well, Chris, that was, yeah, I think it was very inspiring because you're helping us to see that it's just the little simple things that matter the most. That's what I take away from this. It doesn't have to be something big or extravagant, but it's the little things that can mean the most. And when you capture those memories, which now you've given us a way to capture them in like the 55 words or less, just something short where we could just jot down, any little thing that happens in a day and just reflect on it. And it can become a story like you did, a story that you can share with others to encourage and inspire. So thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
And if anybody wants an email, I can say encourage if anybody wants to get together, or I can put in the links to these articles or whatever. I can do that. So you can just send an email to me if you want. Okay.
Thank you, Chris. Does anyone else have any final thoughts or comments before we get started with our day? Well, thank you everyone for joining us for Monday Morning Inspirations. Thank you, Chris, for always having a wonderful story to share, an inspiring story. So hope everyone has a wonderful Monday, a wonderful week ahead, and pray for the warmth. Pray for the warm weather to come tomorrow.
No problem. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
you,
Have a good
Chris.
day.